My husband was in surgery. I was crying in the waiting room. My MIL sat next to me and said, "If something happens, we'll take care of everything. You'll be provided for." Briefly, I looked at her. She smiled. He already updated the will. I didn't believe her. Until the nurse gave me the emergency contact list and my name was crossed out. She was listed first. His ex was second. I wasn't on it at all. I'll never forget the way the hospital lights made everything feel worse. Too bright. Too clean. Too quiet except for the ticking clock and that damn vending machine humming like it was mocking me. I was sitting on one of those stiff plastic chairs in the waiting room, knees bouncing, eyes red from crying, fingers twisting the edge of my sleeve over and over. My husband, Derek, was in surgery. Emergency. His appendix had burst. But there were complications, something about a scar from an old injury that made things harder. They wouldn't tell me much except that it was serious. All I knew was that he collapsed at work, and when I got to the ER, they were already wheeling him in. I was scared. No, I was terrified. Derek and I had only been married 3 years. We were still building our life together. We weren't perfect, but we were trying. We just started talking about buying a house outside Austin. He said he wanted a backyard and a dog. We were even trying for a baby. We weren't telling people yet, just in case. But I'd taken a test that morning. Negative again. Still, we weren't giving up. I was thinking about that when I heard heels clicking down the hallway. Angela, my mother-in-law, the kind of woman who could walk into a funeral and make it about her. Always polished. Always perfect, and always judging. She never liked me. From day one, she looked at me like I was something stuck on her shoe. I didn't come from money. My parents ran a hardware store in a small Texas town. Angela came from a long line of lawyers, doctors, and people who wouldn't even say y'all. I was too loud, too plain, not refined enough. Derek loved me anyway. We eloped. Partly because we didn't want to wait. Mostly because I didn't want her at the wedding. She sat down next to me without saying a word at first. I didn't even look at her. I was too focused on that door where the doctors had gone in. Then she said it. "If something happens," she said calmly, like she was reading from a recipe card, "we'll take care of everything." I turned to her, not understanding. "You'll be provided for," she added, her voice soft. Then she smiled. It wasn't kind. Briefly, I blinked. What the hell does that mean? She didn't answer right away. Just looked down at her purse like this was a boring conversation she wanted to end. Derek updated the will. Right after Christmas, she said. He wanted to be smart. Make sure the right people were protected. My chest tightened. That's not true. We did the will together last year. She smiled again, and this one made me feel sick. "Oh, honey, you should really read what you sign." She stood up and walked away, calm as ever. Like she didn't just turn my entire world upside down. I sat there stunned. I couldn't move. Couldn't even cry anymore. I just stared at the floor and tried to breathe. That's when a nurse came in. She looked around the room, then called out, "Mrs. Gentry?" I jumped up. "Yes, that's me." She looked at her clipboard. "Are you the spouse?" I nodded. "Yes, I'm his wife." She looked at me again, confused, then back at her paper. "I'm sorry, it's just, you're not listed." "What?" I asked, my voice cracking. She showed me the paper. The emergency contact list. There it was in black and red ink. My name had been there, but someone had drawn a thick red line through it. First contact, Angela Gentry. Second contact, Rachel Palmer, his ex-wife. I wasn't listed at all. I couldn't speak, couldn't move. I just stood there, staring at that list, trying to understand how I went from wife to nothing. And suddenly, Angela's smile made perfect sense. I sat back down like my legs gave out. The nurse left, and I was just sitting there with that list burned into my brain. My name crossed out like I never mattered. Like I wasn't his wife. Like I was just erased. And Rachel? Rachel was listed second. The ex-wife he hadn't spoken to in years, at least that's what he told me. I never trusted her. She'd emailed him last year out of the blue, some excuse about old tax stuff. He said he ignored it. Now she's second on his emergency contact list? What the hell was going on? My first instinct was denial. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the hospital screwed something up. But then I remembered how strange Derek had been since New Year's. How he kept staying late at work. How he turned his phone away when I walked by. I thought he was stressed. I thought he needed space. I never thought. Angela's words echoed again. He updated the will. My hands were shaking again. I pulled out my phone and logged into our shared financial account. I had access, or at least, I used to. But now? Locked out. My access was revoked. Every single account. Then I opened our health insurance portal. Under spouse, it now said, no one listed. I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. Everything felt cold. I texted Derek's best friend, Mike. He was our best man. I figured he might know something. Me, is there something going on with Derek and his mom? She said he changed the will. Do you know anything? He read the message but didn't respond. Just left me on read. I waited. 10 minutes. 20. Then I got a call. Not from Mike. From Rachel. I didn't even know how she got my number. Hey, she said, like we were old friends. Her voice was chipper, fake sweet. So, I heard about Derek. I'm flying in. His mom told me. I just wanted to say I hope you're okay, but also, like, this must be confusing for you. What the hell are you talking about? I snapped. Well, she said, dragging out the word. We've been talking. For a while now. He reached out last year. It got serious over Christmas. He told me he made some changes, just in case something ever happened. You're lying, I said, though I wasn't even sure anymore. I don't lie, sweetie, she said, and then she laughed. Anyway, Angela said I should be there when he wakes up. I mean, I am listed as a contact. You're not. She hung up. I threw my phone across the room. It shattered. Some guy waiting across from me looked up, but said nothing. I stood up and marched down the hallway. I didn't care if I wasn't on that damn list. I needed answers. I found the attending nurse. I'm his wife, I said. You don't get to keep me out. I want to speak to whoever is in charge. She tried to calm me down, but I wasn't having it. I demanded to see the attending physician. I told them to call legal. I had photos of our wedding, emails, insurance cards, anything I could find to prove I wasn't crazy. That's when someone else showed up. Angela. And behind her, Rachel. Already there. Already inside. And me? Still on the outside. But not for long. Angela stepped in like she owned the place, wearing that smug expression she always wore when she got what she wanted. She didn't even glance at me. She walked straight up to the front desk, leaned in, and whispered something to the nurse. Then Rachel walked in behind her. Like it was normal. Like she belonged there. She wore tight jeans, a tan coat too expensive for someone who freelanced, and that same smirk she used to wear in old Facebook photos Derek swore he deleted. She looked me dead in the eye, then looked right past me like I was just another nurse. I stepped in front of her. What are you doing here? I asked. She smiled wide, fake as hell. Didn't you hear? I'm family. You're his ex-wife. Yeah, she said, tilting her head. But we've been reconnecting. Angela wanted us to stay close, and Derek saw the value in that. Especially with everything going on. But hey, don't take it personally. I wanted to scream. My voice cracked instead. You're not family. I'm his wife. Angela finally turned around. Were, she said. Legally, maybe. But emotionally? That ended months ago. I felt sick. What the hell are you talking about? She opened her purse and pulled out a thick envelope. You'll find out soon enough. I grabbed it before she could hand it to the nurse. Inside was a photocopy of what looked like a new will. I didn't understand all the legal stuff, but I saw the date. January 4th. Right after the holidays. Right after he got distant. Angela kept talking, like this was a casual brunch. He decided to keep things simple. Rachel's the executor now. I advised him to leave you a severance. A check to move on. A severance. Like I was an employee. Like our marriage was just a contract they could terminate. Rachel stepped forward, eyes gleaming. Derek said you were getting too emotional. Controlling. He felt trapped. That wasn't true. It couldn't be. He never said anything like that. We had arguments, sure, but who doesn't? Then Rachel said something that knocked the air out of my chest. He was filing for divorce. He hadn't told you yet, but it was happening. That's when it hit me. The phone calls. The secret texts. The night he missed his train and didn't come home till after 1 a.m. They weren't lies. He was planning this. With them. He'd cut me out while I was still sleeping next to him in bed. And now they were standing here, at the hospital, while he might be dying. Acting like they'd already replaced me. I felt something switch inside me. Something cold. They thought I was out. That I'd go quietly. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I didn't cry. Not then. Something else kicked in. Not rage. Not grief. Clarity. Angela and Rachel thought they had it all figured out. That I'd slink away, humiliated and heartbroken. But they forgot something. I'd been part of Derek's life for years. I knew his passwords, his habits, where he kept his old hard drives. And more than that, I knew how to survive. You don't grow up working your family's store in a dying Texas town without learning how to fight for what's yours. So I left the hospital, walked out into the cold air, got in my car, and drove straight home. First thing I did was dig through our home office. Derek wasn't careful. He thought he was, but he wasn't. I found backup drives, old laptops, and his email still logged in on our shared tablet. I started going through everything, and what I found made my stomach turn. There were emails. Dozens of them. Between Derek and Rachel. Long ones. Ones where he said he missed her. That he was working on getting rid of me without a fight. That he needed to be smart because I knew too much. Angela was copied on most of them. They talked about money. About moving assets into trusts. About flipping the house once I was gone. They planned it all. And then I found something else. A draft divorce petition typed and signed. But in it, he claimed I was unstable. Said I threatened to hurt myself. Said I was violent. None of it was true. But it made sense now. Why he'd been recording some of our arguments. Why he was baiting me, pushing me to lose my temper. They were building a case. They were going to paint me as crazy so they could cut me out and keep everything. That night, I called a lawyer. Not a fancy one. Just someone I found through a friend. I didn't tell her everything, just enough to get started. She told me to stay quiet and keep gathering evidence. So I did. Over the next 2 days, while Derek was still in the hospital recovering, I copied everything. Emails, messages, financial records, photos, voice memos. Then I went back to the hospital. He was awake. I walked in like nothing was wrong. Angela and Rachel weren't there. They must have gone for coffee or something. Derek looked up at me, surprised. Maybe a little guilty. "Hey," he croaked. "Hey," I said back. He smiled, weakly. "You okay?" I nodded. "You?" He nodded too. Sore. Tired. But yeah. I pulled the chair closer. "I know everything." His eyes shifted. "What?" I saw the emails. The new will. The trust. The messages with Rachel. I saw it all. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. "You were going to blindside me," I said. "Get rid of me. Use fake claims. Leave me with nothing." He looked away. "It wasn't like that." "Don't lie now," I said. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "It got messy." I didn't know how to fix it. I laughed. So your solution was to erase me? He didn't answer. Angela came back then, saw me in the room, and frowned. You shouldn't be here. I'm his wife, I said. Until the court says otherwise, I have every right. She looked like she wanted to argue, but Derek didn't say anything. She sat down, stiff and cold. Rachel walked in a moment later, coffee in hand. Froze when she saw me. I turned to her. Hey, Rachel. Did you know the emails you two sent are still on the tablet at home? The one with the cloud backup. She blinked. I have copies, I said. All of them. I sent them to a lawyer. And to myself. And to a few other people just in case. Angela stood. That's illegal. No, I said calmly. I'm his legal spouse. Shared property. Shared electronics. Look it up. Rachel looked like she'd swallowed a nail. And here's the best part, I said, leaning in. If Derek tries to go through with this divorce the way you planned, it's going to look really bad when the emails show he was setting me up. Judges don't like that. I turned back to Derek. You have two choices. Do this fair. Or I blow it all up. He didn't speak. So I stood up. You all wanted a war, I said, looking at Angela. Now you've got one. And I walked out. It took 6 months. But I won. Derek backed off once my lawyer started sending letters. I stayed in the house. Got a fair settlement. He moved in with Rachel, and last I heard, they were already fighting over money. Angela? She tried to salvage her name at church, but people talk. And someone leaked the emails to a few folks on the charity board she sat on. Her reputation? Ruined. And me? I got my life back. Piece by piece. I wasn't the same woman anymore. They tried to erase me. Instead, they made me unstoppable.